Right, most of you did okay on this one. There was just a few questions that people found a little bit tricky. So there's a couple of points I want to go through just so you feel really, really confident when you're actually doing this. Now, question 1, loads of you said it's an isosceles triangle. Fantastic, you knew that. And loads of you also said it's because it's got 2 equal sides, which it does have, because going by what we've done that before, you can actually see that I've got those 2 little lines which show me that those 2 sides are the same. However, we also have in an isosceles triangle 2 equal angles. Now, if we're looking at it, this side over here and this side are the equals, and it's at the point here where they both join this bottom, that's supposed to be an arrow, where they both join this bottom line, those angles will be the same. So if this one is 75, M must also be 75 degrees. And that's a key thing to remember, that an isosceles triangle has 2 equal sides and 2 equal angles. Now, most of you actually sort of did that, but you didn't explain it in your work when you did question 1. Now, when you actually come on to question 2, you're not given any of the angles. You're just asked which angles are equal. So it's looking at the triangles themselves. So if we're looking at this first one over here, here and here are my equal sides. So these 2 are my equal angles. Okay, now on this one, it's sort of like a triangle laying on its side, really. We have to be able to visualize it in different rotations. Those here and here are my equal sides. So the point at which they have a line joining them, those 2 would be the equal angles. This one is being turned onto its point. So these 2 would be the equal angles. Okay, this is completely upside down. So those 2 are my equal angles. But again, it's using the information you're given. I've got my 2 equal sides. So therefore that one and that one must be the equal angles. There's my equal sides, so that one and that one must be the equal angles. And it's using this information that you're given to actually help you solve the problems. Now, when we get on to this next section, it's using this basic information. Excuse me. So here are my equal sides. So therefore, these 2 angles here, A and 68 degrees, must be the same. So A must be 68 degrees. And then we use the facts that we were working with earlier in the week, the fact that the total of any triangle adds up to 180. So I'm going to do 68 plus 68. So 8 add 8 gives me 16. 6 add 6 is 12. Add the 1, it gives me 13. So the 2 at the bottom add up to 136. The total inside is 180 minus 136, which is going to give me what B is. So 0 take away 6 I can't do, so I'm going to exchange. 10 take away 6 gives me 4. 7 take away 3 gives me 4. 1 take away 1 gives me nothing. So I'm left with 44 degrees. So it's using this key information to help me. What are the equal sides? Where will the equal angles be? And then how do I use that to help me solve the rest of my problems? Okay. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but it's the same principle for all questions, okay? Right, so I'm going to go on to question 4. So Dexter is working out the unknown angles in a triangle. I can't work out either of the missing angles because I don't have enough information. Actually, he's wrong. He does have enough information. I know that that is 28 degrees. I know that here are my equal sides. So therefore, these 2 angles must be the same. So what I've got to do is work out what the total of those 2 would be by saying, okay, well, I know the inside angles of a triangle add up to 180. So I've got to take the 28 away, which is the one bit I've been told. So that means I've got 152 in total left over that hasn't been allowed for. Now at the bottom here, I know I've got 2 angles which must be the same. So all I have to do is do 152 divided by 2, because they're going to be shared equally. So 2 into 1 doesn't go. 2 into 15 goes 7 times with 1 left over. 2 into 12 goes 6 times. So each of these angles here is 76 degrees. So actually he did have enough information to be able to solve that problem. Okay, so let's have a little look here. So again, I'm not going to spend hours going through this one because I think a lot of you did get it. But all you've got to do is that same basis here. So I've been given 44 degrees at the top. Those are my equal sides. So therefore, these must be my equal angles. I know I've got 44 there. So the total inside is 180. I'm going to take the 44 away. So I've got 136 in total, shared equally. So 136 divided by 2. So 2 into 1 doesn't go. 2 into 13 goes 6 times. With 1 left over, 2 into 16 goes 8 times. So each of those angles will be 68 degrees. The same principle all the way through that. Now, on this one here, again, it looks like they haven't given you a lot of information, but they actually have. We're looking at this symbol here. What does that symbol mean? It means it's a right angle. So that is 90 degrees. And once you know that, I know that that must be 90 degrees. In total, it's 180. Well, 180 take away 90 leaves me 90. So these two, it's got to be 90 divided by 2, which gives me 45. So each of those angles is 45 degrees, using the information you already know. Now, if we're having a look at question 6, Whitney and Jack are working out the angles in the triangle. Whitney says, I can't work out the angles in this triangle because I don't know any of them. I know the size of all the angles in this triangle. Who do you agree with? Okay. Now, this is a slightly different type of triangle. This is not isosceles. This triangle is an equilateral triangle. The reason I know is it's telling me I have got 3 sides which are the same and therefore 3 angles which are the same. They must be the same. It's equilateral. That's what equilateral means. It means lines of equal size. Therefore, the angles must be the same. So I can simply divide 180 by 3, which is going to give me, so 3's into 1 don't go, 3's into 18 goes 6 times. So I've got 60 degrees, okay? Now, so Jack here was the one that was right because he didn't need to know any individual angles purely because it was an equilateral. Okay, now, lots of you did actually get this one right. So an isosceles triangle is equilateral. That's definitely false, okay? It's not, you're one or the other. You can't be both. Every equilateral triangle is isosceles. Also false. A right-angled triangle can be equilateral. No, it can't. Because in an equilateral triangle, as we've just proven on this problem over here, every equilateral triangle has angles of 60 degrees, so it cannot have any right angles in. So that is also false. The one that most of you got wrong was this one here, question D. A right-angled triangle can be isosceles. Right, if we're going back to this one over here, this is an isosceles triangle, yeah? And it has a right angle. So yes, it can, as long as that angle is the odd one out. It's the individual one. It's the one that isn't paired with anything else, because then the other two would have to be 45 degrees. Okay, question 8. 2 angles in a triangle of 43 and 74. Is the triangle isosceles? Right, so we can actually have a look at this. Now, we know we've got 180 inside a triangle. Let's take the 74 away. So 0 take away 4 can't do, so I'm going to exchange it. So that's going to leave me there. 7 take away 7 gives me that. 1 take away nothing is 1. So I've got 106 in total. Okay, so if I'm doing that, what am I left with? Well, I'm left with 106. So if I take 43 away from that, because that's the other figure I've been told, what am I left with? So 6 take away 3 gives me 3. And 0 take away 4 I can't do, so I'm going to exchange. 10 take away 4 gives me 6. So the other angle has to be 63 degrees. So therefore, it is not isosceles, because actually we've got 3 different angles. If it's got 3 different angles, it must be a scalene triangle. Okay, it's got to be scalene, which is where everything is different length sides, different types of sized angles. Okay, on an angle, one angle in an isosceles triangle is 29 degrees. What could the other angles be? So basically, you're looking at 2 different types of triangle. one where 29 is the odd one out, and another one where the 29 is used at the bottom. Okay, so if you're thinking about those through, so we've got 180, take away 29 would give me 151. So in this scenario here, the first one, scenario A, we'll call it, I've got to do 151 divided by 2. So 2 and 1 doesn't go. 2 into 15 goes 7 times with 1 left over. 2 into 11 goes 5 times. Remember my decimals. With 1 left over. 2 into 10 goes 5 times. So each of those would be 75.5 degrees. However, on this one over here, I'm running out of space, I'm afraid. I've got 29, add 29, which is going to give me 58. I'm going to take that 58 away from 180, so 180, take away 58. So that one at the top there would be 122 degrees. Okay, so there's several different ways of working it. Right, question 10 is the question that a large amount of you had problems on. Okay, so I'm just going to give myself some space, and I'm just going to rub out some of the works that I've just done there, just so I've got a little bit of room to work to show you what I'm talking about. Right. Okay, it says angle B is twice the size of angle A. Work out the size of angle C. Okay, so I know, because we've got this side and this side are the same, that actually B and C are the same. So B is the same as C. Okay, now it says angle B is twice the size of angle A. So we could use algebra here to say that B equals 2 lots of A. C would also, because I know B and C are the same, would also be 2 lots of A. So I can actually say that I've got A at the top plus 2A, which is the same as B, plus another 2A, which is the same as C, equals 180 in total, because I know 180 is the total of all internal angles in a triangle. Okay, so how many lots of A have I got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can do 180 divided by 5. 5s into 1 don't go. 5s into 18 goes 3 times. 3 5s are 15, so I've got 3 left over. 5s into 30 goes 6 times. So I can say straight away that angle A is 36 degrees. Now I know that B is 2 lots of A, so I can say 36 times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6. Add the 1 is 7. So B must be 72 degrees. And because C is the same as B, I know that is also 72 degrees. Okay, so the question asks for what is the angle of C? 72 degrees. Again, it's all about using logic and the key information that you actually know about all of these different types of problems. Hopefully that has helped you.